All right, I think for those listening, I think we are live, but we are verifying that we are truly live.
Because while I love talking to Melissa and telling her Friday faves, if we're not live, then I have to do this again. And she
Yes.
doesn't like to hear me talk that much. So,
Well, it's saying we're on the 15th second of live.
but usually I get a notice or something. How come I don't get a little notice
Maybe
telling me?
you're just, it's a little slow.
Maybe I turn off my notifications. I wouldn't be surprised there.
Let's see. I will check on my,
I see the challenge doctor is live. I see your live challenge doctor.
okay.
Oh, and I see change the position. That's us. I think we're live too. So that's cool.
Are we?
We are.
Okay, I see us. All right, cool. Very good. Well, welcome back to Friday Faves on 9/11/2020. I'm Dr. Melissa Cady. I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro. And, we're making this a ritual. Every Friday we talk about our favorite thing of the week or the past week from our previous Friday Faves. And it's been an interesting week, right, Kevin?
It has been an interesting week. So I think you said it's September 11th now, and that always is an interesting day. It'd be kind of interesting to talk about that, just where you were on this moment,
Yeah.
back then.
Do you remember?
But oh yeah, I know exactly where I was. It's like one of those things that you remember for sure. I was in my car. I
Mm-hmm.
was driving on the expressway in Chicago. I was heading to Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn when I think I was listening to NPR, and you heard the thing about the first plane hit. And I remember distinctly thinking, oh, it was some small Cessna, a Cessna must have hit the tower. And then by the time I got to the parking lot, the second one struck. And I remember I just remember sitting in my car going, holy crap, this is not an accident. And I was on my nephrology rotation with Dr. Oyama, and I didn't get a lot of work done that day. In fact, I don't think most people in the hospital got a lot of work done that day, because I remember everybody's just looking at the TV the whole time. So
Yeah.
not a favorite, but I do. Where were you? Do you remember?
I remember I was I was in the middle of my family practice rotation and as a medical student, and I literally was in the break room and saw the replay of the first plane hitting the tower. And when they went back live, I saw the second one hit live, and that was literally mind blowing. Uh, I was in total disbelief, and it was kind of a surreal moment. Like how could this be happening? And I got a flashback to thinking about the Challenger, and I remember being in elementary school, or what year was that? But I remember being in school, grade school, and seeing that on TV. Um, but yes, I definitely those moments they grab you and they don't leave you. And of course, I was in Texas. I wasn't even near any of that. I know friends that were a little bit closer to it, but um, a truly devastating, just the idea of the hardest part. And I don't really want to visually relive it per se. It's horrific, but people having to choose between jumping or burning. And that was the thing that it just struck a chord in me, that just the amount of pain and anguish of having to go through something like that. But I commented on a post that someone had mentioned it and asked where we were at when it happened. And I think despite how evil sometimes humans can be, that moment, it showed the flip side too. It showed how we can come together, and we have way more things alike than we are different, and how we can really unify ourselves when we're in a state of crisis. And the color of our skin or religion, it doesn't matter at that moment. It's all about survival or helping each other out. And sometimes people, the worst comes out during those moments, but I think it's pretty amazing how resilient people can be, despite some of those challenges. So yeah, I bought a couple books that kind of talked about that moment in time, because I know 30 years from now that I'm gonna look at that and just think about that moment. It's kind of imprinted on everyone's mind.
Yeah, well, well, that is definitely not a Friday
It's
fave.
not a favorite,
Not
but
not a favorite in any way, shape, but the world did definitely change that day.
yeah.
I remember my wife, we yeah, we were married. I'm pretty sure we were married at the time. Was doing an elective rotation in Virginia, in the Portsmouth area, and I remember it was such disarray because when the plane started flying again, like there was the security was the same as, well, almost the same it was before. There was just nobody on the flights, and I'm just walking. I just remember walking in. There was like nobody on this plane.
Hmm.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks after that, but yeah, that completely changed so many different things. So
Well, we definitely had to pay homage to those that endured a lot of, struggle during that time and dealt with the immediate ramifications of that. So can't go without saying that today. It's my dad's birthday today too, so
oh,
happy birthday, Dad.
happy
Uh,
birthday, Melissa's dad. That's a good thing. That's a Friday fave. If that's not your Friday fave, I don't know what else
it's
it could
one
be.
of them. It is.
Okay. Well, let's hear the rest then. In addition to
Okay.
his dad's
Well,
birthday.
so these are favorites built in within favorites because I love how we meet new people and they give recommendations and we learn from each other and it's a very collaborative feel and you don't feel like you're out on an island. You realize that there's so many people trying to find better ways in this current medical system. And I remember Dr. Ali Abdal had said one of his favorite books was Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. And I bought it. I just got it in the mail and I've just read the beginning of it, but it's super awesome because it's kind of to the point and um, it's just a real easy read. So I'm looking forward to reading more of that this weekend. So that is definitely a favorite. So if you want to find something that can inspire you to make a difference in the world and not let your potential impact go silent, you might want to read a little bit on that. And I did have another favorite and I'm just blanking. Oh, I really enjoyed I was just talking to my husband today about how much gratitude we have for our circumstances and being able to live in a place where we feel comfortable and safe, and there's so many places in this world that do not have that feeling, and to be able to go out for a walk or ride our bikes, which we rode our bikes today, um, just to be able to spend quality time with each other and not be separated by someone being in the hospital or all of these things that can and pull us apart and not be able to connect with each other. So we're super grateful that we know that a lot of people that during this pandemic are single, they don't have family, don't have children, don't have a spouse, that makes it a little bit more challenging. So I'm just my favorite thing is just being grateful of just the circumstances that we have each other to support each other and have our basic needs met, especially when you think about all the fires going on in your vicinity, Kevin, and people losing their homes. Just spoke with a nurse today that her friend um, barely got out in the nick of time and lost everything. So it's not my favorite that these fires are going on, but I'm just really grateful. So that's it.
But I think that's pretty good. I think
Okay,
that's pretty good.
good.
Yeah.
Glad you
No.
approve.
And
Kevin Cuccaro approves this message.
I approve that Friday fave. No, and you did some foreshadowing there too, because Ali's episode has not been released, nor will it be released for quite some time.
Yeah,
But
but you should just take advantage of one of his little snippets of
little
books.
snippets of the show your work, right? Yeah, no, he had a couple of good ones, and I'll be curious on your what your opinions are on that book, because that was his most gifted book. He said, because we asked him that, and he's like, he keeps multiple copies in his house so he can just give
That
it to
says
people.
something. Yeah.
It does say something. It does say something. So well, I don't know what my Friday faves were. As you kind of alluded to, this has been a really, really weird week. With the fires here, it has been just not only devastating, but it's just been this eerie. Like, I grew up around forest fires. We had them in the Carson Tahoe area where I was born and raised. We had them in San Diego when we lived down there. In fact, we had some really, really scary ones. in 2007 where I just remember watching all the freeways basically surrounding San Diego get closed because of the fires. And then driving out from my house, we had a little hill that we had to go over to get to the highway. And I looked over and could see the flames on the eastern side of the city. But holy crap, the smoke here has been, it's changed today. And I don't know whether my eyes adjusted to it, but it has been this thick orange, creepy ass glow. Like every post-apocalyptic movie that you see, like the horrible ones, like The Road, where everything's awful and Mad Max is always an orange whatever. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. And it really affected my psyche. Like
Yeah.
for days, I just walk around. I couldn't concentrate. I'm like, this is awful. And I didn't have anything, other than the smoke and the glow. We didn't have to worry about our house or any of these awful things. So it has been difficult to think of a Good Friday fave, but I have one.
What?
And it's an app, and the app is from the VA.
The change physician. No, I'm just kidding.
No, this app is awesome. It's the mindfulness coach, and it's from the VA, so the Veterans Administration. And I don't think you have to be a vet because I got it out of the App Store. I'm not exactly sure how I found it, but this thing is awesome. Like totally free. They have this kind of mindfulness training, a little bit of gamification in there, where it'll teach you, you read these little topics and gives you a little bit about mindfulness. And then they have a bunch of practices and a whole bunch of exercises you can do and more that you can download. And it's a great app. And then it tracks what you're doing. It has a lot of these mindful apps will have a little tree. So if you build your thing, the little tree starts to sprout and grow, and that has it here. And this is from the VA. It's like the coolest thing in the world.
Well, you need to put the link on when we share this under the the Friday Faves video. You need to put the link.
So I'll have to find it. Yeah, because it's super, super good, and it's completely free. And I think that was, from a Friday Fave standpoint, on our episodes, and we've made comment on this before. Awareness really is crucial. Like it is a recurring theme. And basically every single topic that we talk about is you have to be aware in order to sort of interrupt an action that may be habitual or not. And mindfulness is a way to develop that awareness, right? To be able to create these little pauses here. And I'm trying to think, there was something that triggered me like within the last 3 weeks that really, really got me on board with this. It was a book. My second Friday fave. Would be called The Mind Club by Dan Wegner and Kurt Gray, who are psychologists. Daniel Wegner he used to be the chair of the department of psychology at Harvard and passed from ALS in 2016. So this book was actually published posthumously. Then he did it in partnership with Kurt Gray, who's a psychologist at UNC. Super interesting book. Because it all has to do with how your brain kind of constructs what makes a human a human. And they look at it in this kind of idea of what they call the mind club, which is really what is being a human, and how this difference, there's a tension that we have between what we call agency. So the ability to act independently, to make a difference, versus what they call patience, which is like experiencing things. So you're either a thinker or a feeler is sort of this dichotomy that we all have. And different roles, then how you perceive people changes on whether you're the thinker, the one with agency, perceiving somebody who's the patient, the one with the experience. So that changes the nature of perception, and vice versa. And ways to think about it is if you see a child get hurt or suffering, why does that almost be, it's like a universal abhorrence. Like we can't see a child hurt. And people, well, it's just common sense. Well, why is it common sense? This is what I love about psychology. Well, why? Because common sense is just common sense. Why is it? And it has to do with this perception is that when you see children, and particularly the younger that they are, we don't see them as entities having agency. We see them having entities which are pretty much predominantly feelers, that they only have this experience, but they don't have control of that experience. And so if they're suffering, then we have a responsibility to change that. So anyway, super fascinating book. And the long story of that is when I finished the last chapter there, I was like, oh my gosh, because they were talking about like the illusion of free will and all those other really cool things. And the only way that I kind of popped in my head, well, the only way that you can really make conscious change then is to really work on the skill of awareness. So that's why I've had this app for like a long time, and
Yeah.
it's been recently that I've been pretty habitual about using it because of that book. So 2 Friday Faves, mindfulness app through the VA, and the Mind Club via Dan Wegner and Kurt Gray.
Yeah, all our little suggestions, we'll throw little links underneath the video too, in case anyone's interested. You made me think of just, before we close out, I was just thinking about the
That's why
idea.
I've had this app for like a long time. I'm trying to stop
Yeah.
this. It's been recently that I've been, I'm trying to post it in the
I
comments.
was like, well, I just heard you say that. We just heard Kevin hearing himself talk.
Time delay.
Yeah, there's this. You're talking about seeing the orange glow and how you were talking about how it was just really disturbing, and I was finding it fascinating because of the idea of even our vision is a perception. I mean, trying to explain how vision is not always what you think, and how it's created from the brain. It's so, the more you dive in, it's like a rabbit hole, like how confusing and complex this is. But even like you saying that orange hue, the lens you're looking through is that, what you're used to is like a bright, shiny, sunshine, and that's considered good and beautiful. But why is it that orange hue is ugly? Like, what if we're used to that all the time, and then we had switch it around and be like this bright, shiny sky, and you thought that was ugly? Like, it's just a matter of perception, and having awareness to realize that when something's different, or not, it's undesired, or you want the old, like that can be disruptive, and that can go for a lot of things in life. But
well, and that's why I kind of put the caveat on there with this orange glow. I'm like, did the orange glow actually change, or did my brain adjust to the orange glow? Right.
Yeah.
Because it was just so disturbing, and it put it back to normal. Because I just remember learning in medical school, and people like, what are you talking about? Vision, blah, blah, blah. Well, vision is constructed because if you put glasses on somebody, and the glasses invert, so everything looks upside down, like literally upside down, your brain, folks, after I can't remember how long, will adjust. And by wearing those glasses, everything will seem to be right side up, because that's what it does. Because the way that your lens in your eye works is it actually takes these images, or it takes the light and it reflects off the back of your retina. And in that image that's first generated is actually an upside down image. And so your brain flips that so that you see everybody right side up and not like walk on, upside down. And I just, so I was remembering that. I'm like, well, maybe it's still orange and my brain is just shifted. Brains are cool, man. They're like the coolest things in the world. And we need to be more, that's the new Friday fave. We should have Friday fave for the brain. And like maybe when you have, brain appreciation day, because brains are awesome. That's just how it is. They're the best.
I was trying to think of an acronym for that. BAD, Brain Appreciation Day. It's a bad. Well, I could use a bad word too. Anyway, not bad, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, we can come up with all kind of crazy things. But this is, of course, Pain Awareness Month too. So we'll probably dive into something related to that down the road.
Well, and that relates to the brain as well. Like, I think that's the other super cool thing. And I know it can be very challenging, but the more that you understand the brain and pain, the more exciting, the more aware you are of those interactions, the more control you have. And you can have some really dramatic, changes with that. So
life-changing
interactions with that. So
yeah. Perfect. Well, I think that wraps us up for September 11th, Friday Faves.
September 11th, Friday Faves. Holy moly. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, for those listening, we are the Change Physician Community and Podcast. I'm Melissa Cady, joined by my co-host Kevin Cuccaro. And we look forward to seeing you next Friday with another set of Friday faves. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
And put in there, if you have a Friday fave, you put in the comment box, and we'll see if we'll judge it and see if
Oh,
it's appropriate
okay.
for the next Friday fave. Yeah,
That
we're
works.
very judgy. Take care,
All
folks.
right. Bye, everybody.